hi again, everybody. This is Steve Elkin Napier. Welcome to Building a Career That Matters. Today, we continue our discussion on Roadblock 2020, dealing with long-term disruption. As I just said, Happy New Year to all of you. It is now 2021. Hopefully, we can put most of this stuff we had to deal with in 2020 aside. And with any luck at all, by the end of this year, we'll be back to whatever the new normal actually is. Last time we were together, we started talking about membership tiers and some of the things to factor in as you go about mapping out your membership tiers. And today I'd like to see if we can finish up on that discussion. Just to give you guys a heads up, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to ask you guys to kind of share with all of us what sorts of things you might create in terms of tiers, or things you might want to offer in terms of tiers. Did you have any kind of creative thoughts? Did you stumble across anything as you did your inventory of all the stuff you've ever created in terms of intellectual property that you might be able to resurrect and redeploy? So I think everyone would benefit from hearing what sorts of things you have that you think you might be able to fit in somewhere, leveraging your membership tiers. So today, yeah, we've talked, we're going to continue our discussion about the paid tiers. I do also want to talk about how training courses fit into all of it, how do services that you offer fit into it, and how do whatever products you have fit into it as well. And pretty much for those three, it's just going to be, what might you want to include with the tier, and what might you want to do as an add-on to that tier? Now, I did want to bring one other big aha to you guys from the research we've done on the different platforms for developing membership sorts of sites, and that is that some of them allow you to have a lot more control over what benefits you offer at a specific tier level based on certain parameters you define. So, for example, let's say that you have a tier that is $10 a month. But you might want to throw in a free half-hour session with you. Well, you're not going to do that in the first month where they get $10. So you can say, when it comes to this benefit, they get this benefit after they have been at this tier level for X amount of time. And so you could make it like it's a yearly benefit. So stay with this tier with for a year, and you get, whatever this nice little benefit is, or for a year or longer. Or you can even say that, let's say the benefit comes at a particular tier, but midway through that time period, they decide to upgrade to the next tier. Well, they still are entitled to that benefit at the prior tier, but not until that amount of time actually passes. So as you think about which kind of membership programs or membership platforms you might want to use, think about some of those things as well. So do you want to have benefits that are specifically tied to what's the word? I want people to stick with it. There's got to be a simple word for that. Retention, something like that. So I was thinking more from their perspective, if they've stayed with you for a certain amount of time. The other thing that you can do with some of the platforms is you can have certain benefits that get trickled out to people. So let's say you have a whole library of articles. Well, if you just say, hey, you sign up and you have full access to the library, that doesn't stop someone from going in, downloading every single article, and then dropping after a month, and they got the full benefit. On the other hand, you could say, well, you get part of our article series. These are automatically emailed out to you every X interval. You'll get one. And so again, something to encourage them to stay with you if they continue to want to receive whatever that benefit happens to be. So don't think that all platforms require you to create a tier and instantly give everyone everything that tier might actually include. Thoughts about that? Comments about that? See a couple of you are unmuted, but go right ahead and chime in. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I like the idea of an annual calendar.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell
You
us
know,
more
that
about that.
gives people a little bit more certainty as to when certain things are going to happen.
Yeah, particularly since remember the reason why we're even thinking about creating a membership organization is because you're trying to create some sort of long-term residual income. Well, if they drop after a month or two, well, now you've got an issue that you're going to have to really deal with as far as replacing people just to keep your revenue stream at a whatever level you were really looking for. And it's just a matter of fact that any of these subscription kinds of programs, um, every client is going to have a certain lifespan with you, and you want to make sure that the membership platform that you're using can give you statistics that say that the shortest is X, the longest is this, the average is this, and we've even the one we're looking at right now says that you can break it down that if people stay with you for X amount of time, what is the likelihood that they will continue to stay with you for another X amount of time? And these statistics, these metrics become very useful when it comes to just, again, trying to have some predictability in whatever your revenue stream happens to be. Yeah. Okay, other thoughts?
T is
So
as
may I
far as,
ask a question?
oh,
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. Harold, David, you go right ahead and finish your question, then David, rather than Brian. Yeah.
T, I was just going to say, as far as retention is concerned, I think you take the cake because starting this year is our 30th year together.
Yep. Yep, it's true. Of all the people that have been involved with us, David has been around the absolute longest. We have a couple of people that are 25 years plus. Um, and obviously, when you have people that you've known for this very long, we've actually had people that kind of disappeared only to find out that they passed away. And it's like, so it's interesting when you've got as many people as we've had over all these years for as long as we've had them. It really is quite amazing. And it's really great because it tells me that we're doing something that people consider to be valuable enough that they want to stick with it, even if they may not be heavy users of the change grid itself. They appreciate the ongoing education or the coaching or whatever it is that of what we offer. They happen to glom onto. So yeah, so that's why I'm hoping you guys see there might be something to learn from what our experience has been over all these years. So yeah. So Brian, how about you? What were you going to say?
So does the pricing structure or how does the pricing structure relates to this? Because like I see, sometimes they say like, okay, if you join for the year, pay up front, you get a substantial discount
Yeah,
as
yeah.
opposed to like if you're paying monthly. And so they have tiers with that as well. And then I'll say this usually is the best buy or
The
something
best
like
deal,
that.
right? Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and you find a lot of those membership platforms. We see them all the time. Usually they give you three options. The option they assume you're going to take is the one in the middle, and then above it is a little toggle switch. Do you want to see the monthly pricing or the annual pricing? You see that very commonly with software subscription sorts of
Okay.
processes. And there's a lot of discussion around whether or not it is to your advantage to move people into an annual payment or semi, whatever interval you really want, versus monthly. And they will tell you that the jury is out about which one may be better, because the thing is that when people are on an annual renewal, then when that renewal date comes up, well, then they kind of look and go like, oh, do I want to pay that again? Because it's obviously it's a more substantial payment than going monthly would be. And so are you better off just getting people to, see the monthly value and pay the monthly value and just let that be whatever it is? Or do you want to try to pull more money out of people earlier on, which I believe, and this is just me talking, I believe is almost a fear that they're not going to stick around, or a belief that they're not going to find sufficient value to stick around. And so that's why when we built our organization years ago, we said that for the first year of someone's involvement, they have to pay monthly. And then after that first year is over and done with, we've had opportunity to demonstrate our value, and they've had opportunity to determine if they're getting the value. And obviously they've stuck with it, so they're finding enough value. Then we would offer people some discount if they wanted to pay in advance, because our fears were gone. We had done our job of proving our value, and they had done whatever they needed to do on their end of things to show that they were getting the value out of it. So then I kind of felt like I don't mind offering people a discount then, for wanting to pay for an advance, because everybody who loves something and decides to stick with it wouldn't mind continuing to love it and stick with it for a lower price. So I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah, but to like David's point, what you do is provide tremendous value. So like I have a hard time paying for subscription services, and it seems like they do what they can to get you in,
Yeah.
but then once you're in, the same quality isn't there.
Yeah.
Because you do like the marketers will call it UPOD. You under promise but over deliver.
Well, thank you. That was our goal. We always wanted to make sure that our tiers, or our different levels of membership, were absurdly packed with benefits. And we got a lot of pushback in the early years on that. People were just saying, well, you're giving too much, blah, blah, blah. And it was just, the advice was coming from people who didn't understand the way math works. Because, for our people that are doing group profiling, in their licensing fee, they get unlimited one-on-one personal coaching with me as much as they want, whenever they want. And I'm charging them, well, originally it was $200, now it's up to $250 for new people. For that, well, actually, it's even more than that for brand new people. But nevertheless, it's I don't charge as much for a month of unlimited coaching as all of the people that I coach charge for a single session. And so, of course, people think I'm insane. It's kind of like, no, you just need to know how the math works. Because the way the math works, not as many people tap into that benefit as could, and probably should, if I'm going to be judgmental for a moment. But so when you run the math, it's like we get paid very, very well for providing people who do tap into that benefit with that benefit. So yeah, so it all works out. So you guys just have to kind of think about that. And there is a little bit of experimentation or play. And that's why we're hoping that by sharing our experience, we can save you guys some of that experimentation.
Hey, T.
Yep.
There's one thing that you do, though, that I found very few people do, and that is you are consistent on every call. And I don't mean these calls. I just mean if I have a problem or I want to call you, I hesitate slightly because I don't want to waste your time. But every time we connect, you are helpful, welcoming, thoughtful, curious.
Yep.
I mean, that it's just, and I know you've been doing it for an awfully long time, like a lot of us have, but you do it better
Well,
than
thank you.
just about anybody I've dealt with.
Well, I appreciate that.
Exactly.
Well, good. And I want you guys to know that I do it for two reasons. Certainly, I do it because I want everyone who's part of our community to feel that they're getting full value for what they've paid us. But the other thing is that I am a very isolated and self-isolating person. So I'm not particularly social. I don't have any way of going out there and really drumming things up. I'm kind of a hermit by nature. So when the shutdown started occurring, I'm kind of going like, yay! It's like, finally, I don't have to go do things. So part of the reason why I love talking to all of our team members is because it gives me that feeling of connection. It satisfies my need to be able to talk to people, and not just talk to people just for the heck of talking to people, but talk to people about something that I find interesting. And all of you guys are using the material in very different ways. And so it's very much, I feel like I get a great benefit out of it too. So that's also part of it. It's yeah, you're all my friends. So.
Yeah, this is Kathy. I just want to say thank you for all the years that you've been there for me, and I haven't really benefited the way I should have from your available time, and I certainly could have used it. But I just want to say how extraordinary I think
Well,
that you're.
thank you. Again, I appreciate that. And it's always here. So anytime you guys want to tap in, well, you know how to reach out and do that. So, well, I hadn't planned on the call becoming a We Love Tea Fest, but oh, thank you.
I tell you, it is
Yeah.
definitely an anomaly. I've been around the, online space and tech space long enough to see that it's definitely an anomaly. And I have a serious problem when it comes to quality. And it seems like, the pitch is, let's make money, let's kill it, let's put it online. It's quick, it's fast, it's easy. And you see this all the time. So when you see someone like you have like these long-term relationships with customers,
Yeah.
it's an anomaly. It just is.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just how it was just the way we approached it philosophically. And again, we've been doing it. I mean, 30 years ago, there wasn't Zoom. There was none of these things. Everything had to be done, well, on the telephone was about as distant as you could get and still do work. So, we've had to change over time. And again, what I hope is that by sharing all this with you guys, that you can see that there are things that you can be doing to expand your business, and maybe add some more value to the relationships you have with your clients and with your colleagues, so that you can have these relationships that last for decades. So, okay, anywho, so, yeah, back to paid tiers. Another thing I wanted to bring to your attention is that some of the membership platforms allow you to offer trials. So, and those trials can be free trials, or they could be at a reduced kind of a rate. And this might be something you want to do if you've decided that you're going to be more of the premium tier levels, or just an overall premium sort of a membership organization. So yeah, we talk about $1 level, $5, $10, $20. You got to do a lot of people those levels for it to add up to much. And so you may very well say, oh no, I'm only interested in people that will deal at a $100 a month level or higher. And there is certainly plenty of membership organizations who have built themselves all the way up to $1,000 or more per month in order to be part of a membership organization. Now, I can't tell you anything about how that impacts longevity, but I'm sure it has to do with who this base is. It may very well be that this base is someone who considers $1,000 a month to be a rounding error in their checkbook. I don't know. So, but you can place your tiers and you can place your organization at any level you want. You just know that as the price tag goes up, the population that would be able to pay that, or willing to pay that, or both, is going to shrink. That's just the way that it is. That doesn't mean there isn't a market there. In a world with a Walmart mentality, high-end boutique organizations still seem to be doing okay for themselves. So that's all great. Now, if the price tags are going to be high, you may very well want to say, maybe I'll give people a little bit of a trial membership. So half off the first month or something like that. So they have an opportunity to experience it, decide if they really are resonate with what you're doing and how you're doing it, how deeply they want to get involved. So you might want to consider that. Again, this is an important thing for you to keep in mind if you, as you go about deciding what, if any, membership platform you're going to use. Again, if you only have one tier, you do not need a membership organization or a membership platform for any reason at all. It would just be a whole lot of capabilities that you would never have any reason to use. Okay. All right. Any questions, comments about those three things I just shared with you to keep in mind about platform choice?
Clear.
Yep. Good. Again, we've chosen MemberPress for two reasons, mostly because we know it works extremely well with a WordPress website. So it's so nice that I don't have to go to a different control panel. It's all built into my WordPress regular whatever you call it, dashboard sort of a thing. And the other reason why we went with it is because I grew weary of checking the other ones out. So there may be some out there that are even better than MemberPress. Well, good for them. I'm quite exhausted. And again, we believe that our longer term plan is to migrate everything to Groove, but right now they're still in beta, and I don't want to,
But boy, are
do all
they
the work.
active.
They're very active marketing. They're very active marketers. And again, that sent up a bit of a flag for me, but I know that Linda and Pam Weiss have both done their homework about checking out whether or not you're going to get the value. And honestly, if the only thing we ever used from Groove is the things they have that exactly duplicate what we pay Infusionsoft for, we have more than made up our money many times over. So our investment many times over. So that alone, if they never do anything else, the fact that they can handle the very basic things that we do with Infusionsoft is more than justifiable for the cost of their platinum, whatever they're calling it. So all the other stuff becomes icing on the cake. When it comes along, it comes along. Okay, so let's see, blah, blah, blah. Let's go back to tiers. And so I'm going to close out that. What happened there? Oh, really? Truly? Okay, chat amongst yourselves while I figure out what kind of chaos I just created in my world here. All I wanted to do was to close this right so that I could, that's fine, save that. I have no idea what's happening right now. And I just need to open up a different screen. Oh, thank you. Technology. Someone should do a study about how challenging it is to run technology, which I would imagine is more of a left brain behavior, while you're just trying to have a conversation, which is more of a right brain behavior.
Mhm.
So this is like, did you guys ever see that study about trainers at a flip chart or at a whiteboard? And if they're trying to speak at the same time they're writing something down, what happens? Did you guys ever see that?
No.
Oh, the
I've
spell.
never seen it, but I know what it feels like.
Yeah, spelling mistakes galore. You skip words, you do all kinds of things because writing is more of a left brain activity, and the conversation you're having with your audience is more of a right brain kind of an activity. And so
Oh,
I
math
learned very early on that they
writing.
said always ask for a volunteer to run the flip chart, and things will be better written. Yeah, go ahead, David. What you were saying?
I just said we're all creative writers.
Yeah, right. And isn't that also the tough part? Because if we are just writing and we're coming from that creative spot, how often do you go back and kind of go, dang, did I make a bunch of mistakes? There's missing words, there's all kinds of things. At the same time, if I turn on the features of Word that automatically correct spelling and all that as I go along, I find that very distracting from my creative process.
Yeah, so essentially the writing and talking, you're using the same bandwidth, if you will, from a neuroscience perspective. So like if you're talking on a phone and having a serious conversation, but just doodling, you can escape with that.
Yeah.
But the cognitive structuring, that's why they always say like, when you have a goal, like actually write it down, you're literally creating structures in the brain.
Yeah, and I can kind of see how when I'm on a call, I'm very often writing a word down or something like that because, you guys might say something or we might bring up something that reminds me that later on the conversation, I want to make sure I cover a particular point. So I can write down 1 or 2 words and I'm good to go. But if I start trying to write down a sentence, I'm no longer hearing what the conversation actually was. So, and I'm sure that's not just me, that's just because we have these 2 brains. All right, anywho, so by now you guys should be seeing my our ChangeWorks website, yes?
Yes.
Yep, okay, good. I just want to go back to those tiers that we put together. And by the way, this page was built in WordPress using the Divi theme. Someone asked me that. So Divi is actually more of a, how do you put it, more of an app to help you lay out a website more than most themes are already have a lot of the fonts pre-chosen for you and a lot of the graphic elements and all that. It's not that kind of a theme. It's more of a builder sort of a thing. So that's what we use. And I'm finally starting to learn. Let's see if I can make it do it again. It'll do it this way. I like it when I can tell things to kind of fade in. So I'm learning some of the special things too. So, okay, anyway, so these are our tiers for, and these again, memberships for curious people, clients, and individual students. So these are what we think of as our consumer level memberships. Now, as you'll learn in just a few moments, we also have a very large professional membership, and we are far more interested in professional members than we are in consumer members. I need you guys to think about this for your own business. If you have always worked with organizations, that's great. You want to make sure you've got some tiers that are very much targeted towards those professionals or those executives, those whatever that league happens to be. But you may also have things to offer that could be very interesting and valuable to and for the consumer level. And maybe you've never bothered with the consumer level because it's a totally different way of marketing. And the price points are generally not as really good. In fact, I always joked and I said, the reason why I wanted to focus on corporations is because it took no more energy to talk a corporation into spending $10,000 as it did to talk an individual into spending $100. So why bother? Why don't we go where the money is? Because I'm getting paid, no matter how you look at it and the way we're doing it, we're getting paid for our time. So if we're going to put sales effort out there, we want to make sure that the sales efforts or the marketing efforts are going to bring us the greatest potential return on whatever that effort happens to be, because I've spent the effort to do that. So you guys have to decide whether or not there is sufficient opportunity for you on the consumer end of things for you to put a couple of things together. Obviously, because the price points are lower on the consumer end of things, it has to be stuff that can be delivered automatically or can be very, very easily leveraged. And if you do that, that's really great. So for example, I know I'm babbling a little bit, but you guys know me enough by now to know this. You might go like, well, T, you said at the Explorer level, one of the things you're offering is this, the third one here, understand your change grid results by participating in our live weekly Oracle of the Self group coaching session. So that's once a week. I'm doing a webinar. Now you look at Seeker. Well, you can join us for our weekly Seekers gathering. That's another live webinar. Now I'm doing 2 of these things. And you get up to the practitioner. And now you can, where is it at? Join us for our weekly practitioner summit. That's 3 webinars I'm doing every single week specifically for this consumer level. And you guys think, might go like, that's absurd. Well, the reason why I do it has got not so much to do with the consumers, although I hope they do tap into them, but for the professionals, because I'd like to be able to say to our professionals, so the coaches and the consultants, all of you guys, whatever designation you hold with us, I'd like to be able to say to you guys, based on what you pay for a licensing fee, you get all of that too. And so now I'm giving all of the tier members that I well, care about is not the right words, but the ones that are most important, most valuable to me, I want to give you as much value as I possibly can. So giving you another 3 calls that you could come into every single week if it fits into your schedule or if you find the subject matter interesting, I think that's an additional value that I'm offering all of you for whatever it is you're paying for your licensing fee. And so does that make sense? Are you guys in agreement with me on that?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Over the last year, how many free readings have you done?
How many free readings have I done in the past year? I have probably done 100.
Wow.
Yeah, 100 free readings. And
And
out of those 100,
how many of those have then become a seeker or up to the next level? And do you find yourself funneling people through?
oh yeah. Without a doubt, that definitely happens. Keep in mind that these labels and these tiers have only existed in recent weeks, but variations on these have been around for years and years and years with us. And so, but it's always been this, we know this for certain, that every time we read someone's change grid, the likelihood that they are going to move forward in whatever their level of engagement happens to be dramatically increases. And so I think that for us, that's always been our passive intake system. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about when we get to how you go about marketing yourselves, I'm going to talk to you guys about what is your passive intake system. People need to experience you in some way, shape, or form before they're likely to commit any significant amount of money into whatever level they want to engage at. So if it's not by reading a change grid for them, well, then what is it? Now, it might be, well, in the old days, it was, well, they read articles that you wrote, or they saw your book, and that was enough of an experience of you that they thought you had value, so they'd engage. Or maybe, I'm being really dated now, but maybe they heard one of your audio tapes, or, got hold of one of your CD programs or whatever, and so they got to hear a little bit of that. Maybe you were marketing yourself by doing keynote speeches for free or low cost for whatever organizations that you thought might have the prospects you really care most about in attendance. And so you would do that, and that gave them an opportunity to get to know you. So there were lots of different ways over the years that we've been able to say this is a passive way of us getting people to know a little bit about who we are, or it's a very leveraged way of getting people to know a bit about who we are. Well, how many of those have pretty much fallen by the wayside, have become just outdated modalities of getting to know people in your larger prospect base? And what are we going to do now that we've got this whole pandemic thing? I mean, today the latest statistics shows that 1 in every 930 Americans has died of COVID related complications. 1 in every 930 Americans. 2 weeks ago, it was 1 in 1,000. So I believe that while that vaccine could very well change things for us, I think that the situation that we're in right now is the situation we're going to be in for a good while to come. And we have colleagues all over the country, well, all over the world. They're in tight shutdowns in many places. And we know, in fact, today I was reading an article that in greater LA County, they've now told the ambulance drivers that if they go to find someone and they do not believe that that person has any chance of actually pulling through, that they are not to transport them to the hospital. There are no rooms left. There are no beds left. There are lines of ambulances with patients waiting to come in. So I bring all that up not to be a downer. That's the reality we're all in, but to just say, I think the situation we're in is a situation we're going to continue to be in for the foreseeable future. And so there's enough time that we have to do something, and there's enough time to actually do it, because a lot of these things we've been talking about require developmental time. It takes an investment. There's a learning curve. There's work to be done, and a lot of it is just busy task kind of work. Nevertheless, we have enough time to do it, and enough opportune time in terms of opportunity down the road to justify us making that investment in time and energy right now. And so what's your new passive intake way of doing things going to be? So we were talking about, well, it could be a YouTube channel. Put up a video or a series of videos that people can find, know a little bit about you, and maybe that will stimulate them to do that. Maybe you want to do some sort of a webinar where you can broadcast widely and invite people to come and hear an hour's worth of whatever it is you have to say. And whether that's a one-time event, you decide to do it as a series, maybe offering some kind of a webinar is the way that you're going to do that. By the way, record the webinar and put it up on YouTube as a marketing kind of an opportunity. So I could go on, and I will when we start talking more about opportunity, about marketing. But you have to have some passive intake way of getting people to do this. At our strongest statistic, going back to David's original question, if we were talking to a qualified prospect, and for us that was a speaker, trainer, coach, or consultant who is in private practice and had a successful private practice. So you have to, when you're looking at these statistics, you have to really go, well, what's the difference between the progression with a qualified prospect versus a non-qualified, or we would say a disqualified prospect, because they can't play. If they're not qualified, you can't play. So, the qualified prospects, at our best statistic, we had 85% of all grid readings lead to someone engaging something at a higher level. 85% conversion rate to whatever the next level happens to be, all because of reading a change grid. So I, of course, believe that all of you could be putting together a change grid for your prospects that you could easily get them to fill out and then debrief it with them. And that gives them opportunity to get to know you, whether or not you choose to use the tool with them or in that relationship in a long-term thing. I don't care. Just use it however it best fits in for you. If that's as a marketing kind of tool or an intake tool, great. If that's something that you use on an ongoing basis, even greater. But there's a way that all of you could be leveraging the change grid as part of your casual intake sort of system. Okay, I've been babbling for a while. Thoughts,
So,
comments?
may I ask a question?
Please do. I need to breathe.
So where does the affiliate relationship play into this? Because that's something personally that I would like to do in terms of introducing this work to the healthcare space. So I was telling Jane, like, I'm a part of these associations, like the American Academy, the Academy of Healthcare Executives, and that's a like coveted designation for CEO of hospitals and healthcare networks and those kinds of things. And so as part of my program,
Sure.
I'm now part of several of them. And so I just reached out to some of them and started interviewing them. And I see a need there. Like they talk about burnout among staff. They talk about the hiring issues they have. It's very interesting to hear these, and it's a distinct pattern in terms of what they don't know and need to know. In terms of, because for me, what I'm researching is how the provider experience and patient experience, that symbiotic relationship. So I'm looking to improve the provider experience so they can actually serve better in terms of their patients. So I would be very interested in using what you just described as a way of bringing healthcare executives and their teams on board with
Yeah,
these.
and certainly we should talk about specifically what that would look like when it's fully deployed to help you reach your objectives. But I want to talk a little bit about that whole affiliate concept, about whether or not that's a good way to go or not. And so this is from our many years of learning this. And so now there's two different ways to look at being an affiliate. Are you going to be a provider of an affiliate opportunity for others to spread the word and pay them for their efforts? Or are you going to be one of those people who serve as an affiliate out there spreading the word on the behalf of whoever it is that created the affiliate opportunity? Those are two very different things. And so I would say to you that if you can sign up as an affiliate for any kind of a program, you go right ahead and do that, because generally there's no real burden being placed on you whatsoever. Just kind of don't know that, don't think that that's going to instantly bring you money. There's work to be done. The reason why they're offering you an affiliate program is because you now become their sales representative. So consider yourself to be, as an affiliate, it should just say straight commission salesperson, and you'll do that. So there's work that needs to be done. So rather than sign up for 9 million of them, you might want to just think which ones are most aligned with what I want to do, which ones are going to be a realistic amount of work for me to get done in order to get compensated. And then there's always the question about, are they really going to pay you, or is it some kind of a scamette sort of a thing going on? So that's it. But I want to talk to you guys about offering an affiliate program. And so I'm going to tell you a couple of things about affiliate programs from the from the provider's viewpoint, and you may factor this in however you want. But if we never do an affiliate program again, we'll be fine. I can tell you that the affiliate programs that we've done in the past have certainly brought us some business, have brought us some opportunities, and some have been very successful, others not so much so, etc. But our reason for kind of being sour on affiliate programs is for the following reasons. Number one, if you become dependent on your affiliates, you may end up being very disappointed indeed with whatever the results happen to be. So you can't necessarily count on the fact that you have 100 affiliates signed up, that those 100 affiliates are going to bring you, the floodgates are going to open up with opportunity. That's not going to be the case. So that's number one. Don't count on them. If anything, they're icing on the cake. They're nice bonus. Number two, if you're going to have an affiliate program that's going to be successful, we've learned that the only way that holds true is if someone now becomes a manager of the affiliate program and those affiliates. And so if they're sales representatives, they need a sales manager. And that means you or someone you appoint is going to have to get in touch with these people specifically about affiliate marketing, what they're doing, how you might be able to help them, etc. You're going to have to do something to kind of create little incentives, contests, bonuses, something to keep them spreading the word about your product or service top of mind, so they actually talk about it. So there is this management element that is absolutely necessary if the affiliate program is going to be successful. Number three, when you put together an affiliate program, you're going to have to say, I'm going to pay you X amount in exchange for you doing X specific work. And usually if that is that anytime someone clicks on your link and then goes to the shopping cart and buys, I'm happy to pay you. That's really great. But in our particular case, we would have people that were signed up for affiliates who would say, well, I can introduce you to somebody, or they want to sign up, but they want to talk to you first. Well, now suddenly I'm being pulled in, or we are being pulled in to do parts of that work that were part of the deal of the person getting whatever they were getting. And so that became a problem. You started to go like, wait, I'm paying this person an affiliate fee, but I'm doing the work. So what's that all about? Then the next thing was, well, what about renewals? Were you going to pay them an affiliate fee just for the initial relationship, the initial thing, or do they get a slice of the pie forever? And I'll give you an example of this. We had someone who was originally involved as far as our largest corporate client in recent years, who I will not name, but most of you should know who I'm talking about. They took us all over Europe. Well, this individual, I very much appreciate it, made our first little introduction, and great. And it became a nice little piece of business. Thank you all so very, very much. Well, that went on to being big business for us, but that affiliate never did anything again. In fact, very soon afterwards, they kind of dropped out. So that kind of solved the problem before it became a problem, because obviously you don't pay affiliates fees to people who aren't affiliates anymore. But you got to just kind of think about, well, if you're going to pay them for renewals, are you paying them for add-on business opportunities as well? I mean, where does it stop? And if it isn't going to stop, what is your expectation for them to perform? And then that gets us to the final one. Oh no, there's two more. The next one I'll talk about is the administrative elements of it. There are checks that have to be written. There are accounts that have to be balanced. There are forms that have to be sent out at tax time for all these sorts of people. So there is an administrative element involved in running an affiliate program as well. But the absolute biggest one, and that is this: Linda and I have offered affiliate programs offering people from as low as 10% all the way up to 100% of whatever the fee happens to be. The 100% was for an initial thing. We'd give you 100% of whatever the first thing happens to be. So we tend to favor 50% and even 75% affiliate marketing opportunities with people. You will be hard pressed to find any other affiliate organization who would be willing to offer you anywhere near that amount of money. But we did it, and we did it routinely. And we can count probably less than 100 people total came into our organization, even offering people a 75% share of whatever that money happens to be. So I'm saying that only to say that it has nothing to do with the quality of your product, and it has nothing to do with how much money you actually want to offer somebody. It is really more about where that affiliate fits you into their overall scheme of life. If they view you as being a very important part of their income revenue stream, well, then you're very likely to get some attention put on what you're doing. But if they aren't so much, then you may not see much at all from that. And so it ends up becoming, you just kind of go like, well, what's wrong? I know we got a good product and I'm offering people a big chunk of change. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with us? And the truth is that it's got nothing to do with either of those things. It just has to do with people's capacity to do the amount of work that's really necessary. And the last part of it is, does it really represent significant opportunity for them to put energy into it? So it's all very exciting. It's easy to become an affiliate. It's very different for people to actually perform as an effective affiliate. All right, so there you go.
Got it.
Yes.
You left out one big thing.
Go ahead, dear.
When you have an affiliate program, and if anybody's ever joined one, you know that they have websites filled with banners and logos and introduction letters and every marketing materials. And you get an email every day saying, here's more marketing material for you at our affiliate website. Go now and do this. You got to create all that for your affiliates. Yeah. We expected people would go out and do it for themselves.
Yeah, let me clarify one thing there. Because we were offering them 50% or 75% or more, we thought if we're going to give you all the money or the lion's share of the money, well, then you need to do the lion's share of the work. Where if we were just giving someone 10%, well, that's fine. 10% is a referral fee. Yep.
Ah, okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, all that makes sense to me then. I'm not looking to like be an affiliate, but what I was thinking about in terms of, I am completing my medical training here in the States, and so I'll be quite busy.
Yes.
So I was thinking a way in terms of, I'm using the attention management as part of my research for the provider experience. So I'm thinking a way that I can introduce it to or bring it to the healthcare space, basically.
Sure.
So that might be a partnership. It might be just a referral, or whatever the case is. I don't mind doing the work of it. But, I'm just trying to think of a way that it will fit best. Well, we'll probably have to talk offline.
Yeah, that's fine. And for all of you, we're more than happy to chat with you offline about doing all that. But that's not really an affiliate program. Now, you might want to create an affiliate program for your colleagues to spread the word. Just factor in everything we've just shared with you about the affiliate programs from the provider's side of things.
I got you. That would be too much for me.
Well, I'm just saying, it's all very, it's all very enticing until you look at the workload.
Exactly. I've seen a couple of emails. I don't even know how they got my name, but it was from a ClickBank.
Oh yeah.
And their affiliate site or something like that. So I just immediately threw it in the trash.
Good for you. No, ClickBanks are where scammers get their people to call from. That's their whole goal, is to find ways to sell access to all these people's contact. So anyway, it doesn't really matter. So let me just kind of finish off this little thing about the membership tiers. And so what I wanted to do today was to have you guys kind of share with one another what sorts of things you might be putting at the different tiers. But we only have a few minutes left, so we'll kind of do that on Thursday. But I do want to introduce you to the professional level tiers, because these professional level tiers are where most of you can probably package and offer your intellectual property in a way that can bring you a more significant amount of revenue. And this is going to hold true for any of you who have created any sort of an approach to doing the kind of work that you do, or you've developed any sort of specific tools that people who do the work that you do would also benefit from using. So whether you've got a new way of doing this or a better way of doing that, you've got something that you might be able to train and license people to actually use or to teach to others. Now, a lot of you I know are at a stage in life where if you aren't already thinking about retirement, you will be in a handful of years. Do you want your life's work to retire when you do? If you do, well, fine, but I will tell you that you probably all have got something that should be part of a legacy. And that means you need to package it and offer it in a way that it can continue to have a life of its own. And that's what we're talking about when it comes to these more professional level tiers. In our case, it's coaches, trainers, and other human development sorts of professionals. In our case, the entry level professional designation would be someone being a ChangeWorks coach. A ChangeWorks coach really just works one-on-one with people. They use the Change Grid as part of those conversations. We teach them exactly how to do that, etc. They then get ongoing access to individual Change Grids, etc., etc., etc. It's an unusual one because some people who go for coach are interested in becoming certified so that they can get continuing education credits from ICF or whatever. But most of the people we talk to have no interest in humoring ICF for any reason anyway, mostly because whether or not they have an ICF designation doesn't really matter to many of the consumers they're going after. It might matter if they're going after larger corporate or governmental sorts of contracts for coaching, but it doesn't really come into play otherwise. And so some people want to be certified and other people aren't interested in being certified. So some are more interested in just going through the coach program at that more student sort of level and incorporating it into their practice. And others want to have that certification designation after them. And so there's two different things that are going on there, depending on where they're at. Someone who is a coach could move on to becoming a consultant. A consultant is what we used to call our silver team people. So these are individuals who are doing individual ChangeWorks profiles, but or rather they're doing group profiling. And so that would be gold level. Group profiling, yeah, that's right. Coach would be silver level. The gold level was the group profiling. And so these are people who work with groups. And what we've done for them is said, well, that's by invitation only. Mostly it's because you can't do this until you've done the coach training, because you can't just jump in at a higher level. You got to have done the work beforehand. And while in the old days, we would say, if you want to pay for this level, now you can get all this stuff, but we just found it's better just say no, let people just work their way up through the designations. From there, they would go from consultant to a master consultant and ultimately up to a partner. And so there's different fees associated. So we actually offer tiers ranging from free all the way up to $1,000 a month. And yeah, we'll also do yearly sorts of things for people in certain circumstances. Okay, so what I'd like you guys to do then between now and Thursday is to again think about, do you want to have a consumer level of membership or set of memberships and a professional level, or are you really focused on one or the other? And then the question is going to be, how many tiers do you want to put together? We do encourage you to have a free tier, particularly if you're doing something at the consumer level. If you're doing something only at the professional level, maybe a trial sort of a tier or a discount on the first month, something like that, just to encourage people to give it a try. And then the question is going to be, where do you put your stuff? Where do you put whatever it is that you want to offer? And then after that, we'll talk about how to market it. Okay, questions, comments? All right, then. We will talk again on Thursday. Bye for now, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.